if you read or listen to the mainstream media in America right now, they're very concerned with the horrible thing that Donald Trump said about Rashida Tlaib and her grandmother. Okay, granted, not a nice thing to say, was not racist, and was not hateful. If you compare that to what Rashida Tlaib actually did, and you cannot see that she was at fault, then you're biased. And I'll tell you precisely where the bias comes from. And I'll tell you why this is so big that I really can't hold back. I have to speak. Okay. The whole thing started because Rashida Tlaib wanted to bring a bunch of American freshman politicians, freshman congressmen, to Palestine, not to Israel, to Palestine. Now, the agenda was to meet with people and to understand the situation here better. You have to understand her trip was organized by a group called MIFTA, which is an anti-Israel propaganda organization founded by Hanina Shrawi. This organization has clear and unabashed ties to terrorist organizations and has also, and terrorists with blood on their hands. And the organization has also been accused of connections with neo-Nazi groups, and has also printed articles with blood libels, claiming that Jews use the blood of non-Jewish children for ritual purposes. Yeah. And this is the organization that Rashida Tlaib is connected with, and this is the organization that was going to be educating freshman congressmen about the situation in Israel. Okay, BDS is not an issue of free speech. Free speech has limits. You may not call for ethnically cleansing Jews from any region of the world that goes beyond hate speech and is already outside the realm of permitted free speech. You may not call for the end of Israel. The U.S. State Department defines that as anti-Semitism. And that's what BDS is. BDS targets only Jewish businesses. It is racism. It is not free speech. It is racism. BDS has clear ties with terrorist organizations. BDS calls for the end of Israel. BDS calls for the end of a Jewish state. It does not mind Israel so long as it's only Palestinian. I mean, do I have to state that? We saw that with Gaza. People who claim there's apartheid in Israel, Jews may not live in the Palestinian area. Palestinians may live in the areas under Israeli authority. If you support this, you are a racist. You are a Jew hater. Rashida Tlaib, the organization MIFTA, organized a trip, brought several congressmen to Israel before Rashida Tlaib became a congresswoman. I believe it was 2016. One of those was Hank Johnson, who came back and in a speech called Jews termites. That's what these trips do. Now, why does this make me particularly angry today? Okay, it's Shabbos has gone out. And over Shabbos, there were a bunch of rockets launched at Israel. Last week, two Arab children just ran up to policemen standing in the old city of Jerusalem and stabbed them. Okay, on the Wednesday night before that, Dvir Sorek, the sweetest 19-year-old boy, was walking to his yeshiva carrying books, and he was murdered by Palestinians, Arabs. Yesterday, two Jewish brothers, a brother and sister, were standing at a bus stop in the middle of the day. And a car swerved off the road so far it flipped over in order to try to kill them. The boy is fighting for his life. The girl is in very serious condition, but the boy is literally fighting for his life. Last Sunday, the Jews commemorated Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the destruction of the temple, which the Holy of Holies is underneath where the Dome of the Rock is, not a mosque and not Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock. And the Muslim Authority shut down all of the mosques in Jerusalem so that all of the Arabs would go up and try to prevent the Jews from visiting the site. This is not plurality. This is not peace. If you support this, if you do not denounce Rashida Tlaib, then you are ignoring the clear connection between her trip and the rise in violence. Because as soon as there's an opening, as soon as there seems to be the slimmest chance that Jewish blood can flow, if there's a political trick that opens up some kind of opportunity, Jews will die. If you do not denounce Rashida Tlaib, you are permitting Jews to die. If you look at this situation and the only thing you see wrong is Donald Trump's tweet, you are evil. You are evil. If you went through the whole week and you did not denounce this organization that spreads these lies, if you did not denounce a trip that was going to brainwash American politicians into promoting evil and death, you're evil. There's no two ways about it, and I will call you out on it. This is not a matter of free speech. This is not free speech. This is allowing an evil agenda to come into the world. This is ignoring plain and basic facts. Rashida Tlaib is not, she is a Jew hater. Israel bent over backwards. After we denied her entry, she wrote a letter saying, please let me visit my grandmother. And Israel said, you know something? Okay, for humanitarian reasons, come in, but please no BDS, no politics. And she said, no, thank you. Golda Meir once said, when the Arabs love their children more than they hate the Jews, there will be peace. When Rashida Tlaib loves her grandmother more than she hates Israel, there will be peace. But for now, she hates Israel so much. And the fact that her hatred is not being denounced is causing Jews to die. As long as Democrats hate Donald Trump more than they hate seeing Jewish blood spilled, Jews will continue to suffer. Not one Democrat said anything about the rocket attacks on southern Israel. Not one Democrat said anything about the multiple attacks on Jews. Not one Democrat said anything about the Palestinians intentionally trying to prohibit Jews, not even from worshiping, from going to the Temple Mount. Not one. Yet when Donald Trump made that tweet, oh, that's awful, that's evil. No, that's not evil. If you can't see that that's not evil, you have a serious soul illness. And you know, Ben Shapiro made an interesting point. He said that if Donald Trump was going to visit some country and they said, no, we don't want you because you're Donald Trump, the Democrats would support their right to do that. They're a foreign country. They can let in who they want. They hate Jews. Only the Jewish state, they feel like they can say, no, the Jewish state cannot decide who comes in. We decide. And if a person calls for Jewish death, oh, Jews should accept that. Jews cannot decide where their capital is because Jews. It is Jew hatred, which if you want to hate Jews, feel free. I mean, you should be able to admit that that's what you are. But hating Israel is a sign of a deep spiritual illness in this day and age. It means you hate God. And a lot of these people are very open about the fact that they hate God. They're very open about it. I'm done with it. You want to hold that position? Fine. Free speech, freedom of choice. But when someone calls you out for being disgustingly evil, you better accept it because that's what you are.